Number 5, what do we got? Promote open communication. So demonstrate your beliefs and values. Engage in open conversations with others. Share your perspective and encourage constructive dialogue to create understanding and change. Now, being vocal about your beliefs and values does not mean forcing them onto other people. It also doesn't mean to be radically fixed to them like a zealot who is unwilling to learn a new perspective. What it does mean is confidently standing your ground, standing for what you stand for and communicating it openly, while at the same time being open and receptive to the beliefs and values of others. It's about being committed, yet not attached, and also to be willing to walk away rather than comply or fit in when you know it doesn't feel right. This is the place where self-assurance, confidence, and high self-esteem reside. Once again, this is where an increased vocabulary helps. When we have more words, we can better communicate our perspectives, better understand the meaning of these words, lead constructive dialogue, and negotiate or facilitate change. There's nothing worse than being in a group situation with someone, and then when each party goes their own way, one of the people then starts disagreeing, starts bitching, whining, and complaining about what happened. I'm like, why didn't you speak up before? All these things, if they're important to you, what's the go? But no, they just prefer the gossip. Gossip is the currency of the poor, and in my experience, people who have low confidence, low self-esteem, and self-assurance tend to be the biggest facilitators of gossip. In today's society, it seems that if someone shares an opinion which goes against the status quo, they are labelled as polarising, when all they are is doing is sharing an opinion which many disagree with. Many adults seem to still be living in an outdated, childlike world existence of children should be seen but not heard. Why are they choosing to still live like that? You got a voice, learn to use it. I came from a very strong, opinionated and passionate family dynamic. Comes with having a Greek background. I then went on to a very tough, bold industry in construction where I had to be, like I said, bold in my communication. Otherwise, I would have got eaten every single day. Now, I'm not saying to be rude, dismissive or arrogant. It's more about setting clear and definite boundaries. And those things may happen while you're experimenting with this, but you're getting better. And sometimes to understand what those boundaries are, we not only have to cross them, but we have to allow others to cross them. It's who we be and what we do afterwards which is most important. Now I remember, here's a good story. We had a contract on a $400 million project, and in every contractor's weekly planning meeting, the man running the project spoke terribly to every contractor. He was an arsehole. When he started with me, I simply just got up and walked out of the meeting without saying a word. He rang me. Don't you ever f***ing walk out on me. I hung up. He rang me again, screaming and sweating. I hung up. Then he rang me the third time. And when I answered, before he could say a word, I told him, change your tone or I'm going to keep hanging up. So he spoke with a different levelness, asking me if my team will accomplish everything that needed to be accomplished for the upcoming concrete pour. I said, we will. We always do. He then asked me to come up to the office so we can have a chat. I said, okay. So I went up, and once there, he started his intimidation again, threatening to tear up our contract. So I just silently got up, walked out, and I didn't answer his calls all day. Eventually it escalated, and the construction manager called me, and I boldly communicated that as a professional I would not be spoken to like one of his minions, and unless things change I will cease all verbal communications. Now I knew the contract couldn't be torn up, and I also knew that them communicating to me through my team on high level matters would be a massive pain in the ass for them. So we ended up having another meeting the next day where I laid out my standards of communication. He could speak to every other contractor as he wished. That's their problem if they didn't want to do anything about it. However, with me, I expect to be spoken to as a business owner who is exceeding all expectations and continuously bringing great value to the project. So what's the lesson in this? Teach people how to communicate to you, with you. I went from viscerally hating this person to having one of the closest, most trusting relationships I ever had in the industry. We went on to win every contract thereafter and done many projects together. And this person was heavily responsible for much of the wealth which I acquired while I was in the industry. Also, and best of all, I even watched his communication change with other contractors over the years. This happened because I communicated my standards, was very vocal and demonstrative of them, and most of all, I boldly stuck to them, which in turn created a powerful change in the behavior of the other person. So it not only created an unlikely friendship, it brought me millions of dollars in future contracts. The last one, number 6, lead by example.